Alright, so the second set is starting on Othello, and we have JF spawning at a roughly 1 o'clock, and I don't think we're on yet. Here we go. JF is at roughly 1 o'clock, and Protoss is down there at 5 o'clock. And for all those of you that don't know, there is a prize for Liquibition now, and the winner of the series will receive $100, and the runner-up will take his $25 and go home. The winner will also be invited back next week to fight whoever we've selected next, who has already knows they're playing, but obviously not their opponent, and we'll reveal that at the end of the show. So, Rage, what do you think about these positions on Othello?
Well, again, if you look at the interviews, Brad OK says he really favors dropship play, and he's a really old school player. He was a pretty good player before he went to the army, and after he came back, he became a pretty good player again. So he kind of has an old school dropping style that we saw in last game too, and these positions are really good for him if he wants to do some cliff drops or something like that to punish JF if he tries to go one gate expand. But JF, of course, I think he'll go Reavers again on this map.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I expect him to go Reavers all games, really. The thing about this map, though, is that I really don't like it for Protoss as the game drags on, especially because Terran can easily get up a nice 4-base little area down there because of the easy third, whereas it's much harder for the Protoss to get up to 4 or 5, 6 base to counter that 4-base. So if Protoss can get it to a rather advantageous mid-game, I expect him to be able to take this with ease.
I don't know. We've seen in the last game that JF is a bit better at mid-game sense than Brad OK. So I think JF is going to be pretty confident about his mid-game here. The thing about Othello is that in PvT, it's really you can't really directly attack the Terran army because of the walls, and the Terran army can get in a really good position where it's hard to destroy that tank line. So one of the things about PvT gameplay is that you constantly have to counter-attack. You have to keep the Terran army moving. You can't let it get set up in position like right in front of your natural, because then it's impossible to break it.
Oh, definitely. The thing that JF has really got to do this game is really got to stay on top of Fred OK and know where his army is and be able to move around it, being able to get counter-attack the natural, force him back, and just be able to make sure that Terran ball doesn't get to his natural, like you said, because if it gets there, the game's pretty much over, barring some amazing scarabs, which weren't exactly working for him last game. I expect Bratok to take a fast expansion here, and I expect a 6-fac, really.
I don't expect a fast expansion because, as you can see, he's keeping his SCVs on gas here after his factory has started, so I expect him to go for a 2-fac build here. He's also keeping up his marine production, so this is probably going to be a 2-fac build. You can see Jeff is going for 1-gate range at the moment. He's going to build his pylon up on his cliff here.
I really don't know about the 2-fac there. I think Protoss is just playing it old school and not taking things off. And he's going for a drop build. Going up. Oh no. So he's going to go for a drop build yet again. But with that pylon there on JF's cliff, he should be able to see it and should be able to react accordingly. However, the thing is, Dragoons can't get up behind there, so he's going to need to build some Zealots to get there, or at least a shuttle at the very least.
Yeah, you really need at least a shuttle to get there. Robo goes up. Robo's going up for JF, and I think he's planning on getting a 2nd gate here too. So he should be able to deal with any cliff drops here. His shuttle should be on time.
Interesting though that Bratok is sending 2 SCVs to go scout, and obviously one of them's just died, and the second one's going to get in and see exactly what's going on for JF. And so I think that's going to work a lot in Braddock's favour. Oh, and here comes the SCV, and it sees everything. I mean, Braddock's going to know exactly what's going on, and he's going to be able to rack with his dropship accordingly.
Yeah, indeed. This is really bad for JF. I mean, now that Brad OK knows knows that there is no expansion down there. He knows he doesn't have to cliff. He can't cliff drop because I mean it wouldn't do any damage, and JF would have a shuttle out in no time. So now he's producing a raid from that starport, thinking JF is gonna go for a Reaver, but in fact JF is gonna go for a 2-gate observer. So weird turn this game is getting on because both of the players, their initial plans got shut down fairly easily.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I like 2-gate observer. It's nice and safe, and it's reminiscent of Lost Temple play, really. So he should be able to defend any kind of drop that's coming out. So I think that choosing to go Wraith first was a good move. I mean, the fact that JF is not going for Reavers is also going to work in his favor because Bradhog's already prepared for them with his Wraith. So I'm going to give a slight advantage to JF because his Nexus is going up so much faster than Bradhog's command center, which I can't see anywhere.
Yeah, he just started his command center here at this wall. He'll still have to float that down, and JF's Nexus is almost finished, so definitely a bit of an advantage for JF here. JF still doesn't really know what Bradhog's plans are. He saw that he's still seeing that there's no command center, so he's still afraid of a 2-fac or a drop build. And his observer is going to scout really soon what's going on, and he's going to know that he's ahead, and he'll probably take a third base pretty soon too.
Yeah, I'd really expect JF to take his third relatively soon. I mean, he's adding his third gateway now to defend any kind of funny pushes here. But I expect pretty much a standard macro game, even though there's slight weird openings from both players.
Yeah, indeed, and you can see Jeff was really afraid of drop because earlier he positioned his goons at Bradhog's mineral only to pick off any dropships coming from there. And he put down a pylon there, actually, to see if any drops would come. He also has 2 goons at his main to prevent any incoming drops. He sent a probe to his mineral only. Now that he scouted Bradhog going for an expansion, he thinks, yeah, I'll just expand myself again. And Bradhog's expansion is really late, and it's going to be really hard for him to come back from this economical disadvantage he's been put in.
Well, I expect Bradhog to take his third relatively quickly to make up for that deficit. But what that's going to do is that's going to put him in a very nasty timing window where JF can just rush in with a lot of units and take it. And I think JF's decision to take his mineral only instead of his third base is another good one, because if Bradhog does do some kind of push with a few factories, that third expansion is likely going to go down relatively soon, simply because it's in such a bad position when you've got a Terran coming up from below. So I think taking 12 o'clock is the better choice here in this situation.
Yeah, definitely. And we saw some cute raid scouting and raid harass from Bradhog, and now JF ran his shuttle into the raid, but successfully retreated it and killed off the raid. He's got 4 Zealots loaded up in that shuttle, and looks like he's gonna try and break the natural here with a Zealot bomb and a couple of goons. I don't know why he would play that risky. And Bradhog is moving his tanks forward. This is really bad for Bradhog. If he's stick to his defensive position, he would have been in a lot better shape against this expo break here, as you would call it. And JF moving and killing a lot of tanks here.
Yeah, well, what we saw there was simply JF didn't have enough Zealots to break it. I mean, you can't push into a Terran base when they've got a few tanks, if they've got in that kind of position anyway. What you really need is a lot of Zealots to break that many tanks, but I think JF was expecting him to have more vultures, although he does have an observer nearby. And what's this? JF's going back in and he's going to lose 2 goons absolutely pointlessly. That's not exactly the best play I've seen from JF. Anyway, he's got a dropship finally going towards his natural, but oh my god, the Dragoons are coming in, the Dragoons are in, and oh, they just walked right past the dropship. This is very bad for JF, except he knows right now. And then, oh, we've got the 2 tanks dropping down at the natural, and they're going to siege up, and JF is going to react accordingly, thanks to that pylon. However, he's going to lose 1 probe, so overall, roughly a failed drop, and yes, JF will be able to take down that dropship, I think. in time before it'll be able to do it.
Yeah, but Brad OK is now dropping a tank above the mineral only of JF, and those probes are stacked there, but unluckily he focus fires his raccoons here. He could have gotten a lot of probe kills out of that. Now I think the deal with JF breaking that natural, trying to break that natural, was just trying to diminish the tank count before Brad OK got his macro going, and he was really successful at that. But Vulture's harassing the mineral only, killing off a lot of probes.
That is exactly what JF did not want right now. I mean, he just lost a lot of units to his push, and now he's lost a lot of probes there. So Brad OK's put himself in a reasonably good position, although he's still only on 2 factory right now. This is very weird from him, as I'd expect a lot more factories, really. But we can see that he's adding his 3rd, which I think is appropriate for this right now.
Yeah, and that natural bust by JF really diminished his tank count and made him not able to take his 3rd for a really long time, so may have been a good move in the end, actually. If we look at the upgrades, because the game is kind of slowing down a bit here while everybody's expanding, the JF has 1 forge going here, and Brad OK just finished his first attack upgrade for tanks, but is only running on 1 armory here.
What we can see here is we got JF taking his 3rd base as his 4th nexus, really. And that's probably better for him now, seeing as he knows that Braddock doesn't have exactly a lot of tanks, because he's taken out a lot of them, and is starting to switch over to Vulture and Vulture harass. So he's pretty confident that he's not going to be able to push out anytime soon. And he's also got the shuttle there already with 4 zealots, just in case he does decide to push. And so now taking this expansion at this timing is going to work much better in his favor.
Yeah, I completely agree. Once Terran is taking that 3rd expansion, you don't have to be afraid of a timing push that much anymore. And when Brad OK is gonna push, JF will have to dodge the army anyway, so he shouldn't be afraid of taking that 3rd expansion right outside of his natural anymore, even though it seems such a weak position.
Yeah, and we can also see that JF is trying to take, 11 o'clock, so that's also going to work in his favor. If we have a quick look at the supply count, we can see that JF has pulled about 30 supply ahead, so that's a good healthy lead for the Protoss if you follow PvT very much.
Yeah, indeed, but I don't see Brad OK moving out before the 170 supply mark or something. He knows that he's behind in army, and the only way he can do something with a push is when he pushes at 200 with a max army, when JF has a max army too. So I kind of see the game going towards the late game, and Brad OK taking his 4th base here, so that definitely confirms that assumption.
Yeah, I mean, Brad OK is playing exactly how I expect the Terran player to do, and those Vultures managed to snipe off 1 or 2 zealots, and they're doing a good job of diminishing JF's map control, because really that's what he's going to do. He's trying to draw JF's attention away from taking down that 4th base, while he harasses with those Vultures and get him to focus on the Vultures. Taking that 4th base at this timing is also very good, because I mean, Brad OK is just trying to get into his macro game and everything, and so this should be able to extend his economic game a long way. Because if you've got equal bases as the Protoss as a Terran, you know you've got at least an economical advantage, because especially if they don't have any tech, which JF is only just adding. It looks like he's going to be adding Arbiters, seeing as he's got a Stargate and a Templar, and he's also upgrading Storm. So JF's moving into the spell phase, so I'm excited.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna need those Arbiters to crack a push at against a Terran maxed army here on Othello. And looks like the game is just in build-up phase here. We got Brad OK upgrading from 2 armories. We got Storm upgrading and a 2nd forge going down for JF, and his Arbiter Tribunals should pop up soon.
Even though JF is getting his tech right now, I'm I'm liking Braddock's position right now. I mean, he's closed the supply gap to 20 now, and he's got 4 bases against 4 bases. So I really think he's going to take this game, even though it's still early days.
Yeah, I really didn't expect him to come back from the early game there. He was really at a fairly big disadvantage there. But as you said, he's looking to be in a pretty good position here. Has a pretty high tank count. Well, actually, pretty low tank count for his supply. So a lot of vultures. And if we look at JF's army mix, he's kind of low on zealots, but he has a lot of dragoons, so that kind of plays in JF's favor. The high goon count against high vulture count army mixer.
Oh, definitely. I mean, when he gets those high Templar out, they're going to work wonders against those vultures as well, because Storm just absolutely eats them.
Yeah, indeed, and we can see JF getting another base now, kind of late in my opinion, because he knew he was on equal basis, and you can't stay on equal basis for a long time in PvT. JF also making his first arbiter here, and I'm unable to find the tribunal. Oh, it's here at the mineral only, and he's researching status first here. So he's really not looking for a recall. He's looking to be able to defend that 200 maxed army. And but Brad OK is prepared for an arbiter and has a science vessel. He is maxed now, and JF is too. So we'll see these two armies colliding really soon, and we can see JF moving to the left side of the map. Like I said, you really need to play a counter. You really need to counter always. You can't confront the army, the Terran army, head on. So you have to position yourself to attack the mineral only, force him to go back and defend the mineral only, and kind of play that game. Yeah, go ahead, Plexa.
The thing is, because he's getting stasis first, I'm expecting him to come in and try to actually break that first push with a nice stasis, getting a nice clump of units, because that's going to reduce the supply count by 20 easily if he gets 2 good stasis off. That's going to put him in a good position to be able to actually break the push. However, I actually think that recall would be the better choice in this situation. However, we'll see how it pans out. I mean, JF's pressuring now at Braddock's 4th. JF is taking a 5th base. Braddock is trying to take his 5th as well. And now we've got the first Arbiter about to join the fray as well, I think. Although it's still lingering at the natural. JF is playing quite smart here as well. He's trying to diminish the vulture count as much as he can before the actual push comes. Before the push gets any real sting and momentum to it. We've got Goliaths mixed into Brad OK's army now, which is going to work very well against the Arbiters, although he's got very sloppy science vessel control, and JF has managed to pick both of those off, and that's going to work really well and slow down the Terran push as much as he can, because right now what the Protoss needs is time.
Yeah, indeed, he needs to buy time for those Arbiters to build up enough energy to become efficient, and he's doing that right now. He threatened to attack the mineral only earlier, and now he's he's actually attacking the turret while Brad OK's army is out of position, and he's gonna pick up these 3 tanks, and
my StarCraft just crashed. Woo!
So we get a nice look at, I don't know what your screen is pointed at, but
I don't have a screen. My StarCraft crashed.
No, I was talking about Rich's screen and the viewer's screen, but you can you probably have a nice overview of the attack, and it looks like he'll kill all those tanks off and get a lot of SCV kills, while Brad OK's army is moving in from the middle here. Do you think that attack would have been effective?
Which attack?
The attack on the turret, which you saw before you dropped.
That's exactly what JF needed. That's going to force Brad OK to come back.
Yeah, indeed.
To deal with it, and that's going to slow down the push.
Yeah, indeed. And Brad OK cleaning up that attack now. JF didn't do a lot of damage, killed some SCVs, but what he mainly did was stall and put Brad OK's army out of position again, and now he's attacking the mineral only of Brad OK. Wow, he's gonna storm up on that cliff, and he's gonna he's gonna storm those tanks, and he's getting a lot of nice storms off here, damaging a lot of tanks and killing a lot of vultures. Wow. So JF really doing a good job stalling the Terran maxed out army here, and doing some damage to that army itself. Battle Case only has 137 supply after having to move his army that much, and JF is at 172 with a lot of gates and a lot of resources.
Rage, what time are you at in the replay?
I'm at 19 minutes.
Okay, let me know when you get to, let's say, 21.
Okay. So we can see Brad OK moving down with his army, 160 supply army here through the middle, and this time JF can't. Oh, JF counterattacking on the mineral only at the 3 o'clock position here that Brad OK took while I wasn't watching or something. Meanwhile, main armies clashing here. A lot of nice storms going off, but JF has to retreat over there. He can't flank that army in that position. There's too many walls surrounding it, and Brad OK slowly pushing towards JF's third here. Yeah, this game is looking really nice. We have a lot of factories and a lot of gateways up for both players. Both have really good economy and decent upgrades and a lot of tech. And JF moving in on the main army of Brad OK here, getting those tanks out of position while they were unsieged. Looks like he'll clean this up and get himself in a nice position, but what he really needs to do is somehow get rid of those expansions on the left side here, because otherwise Brad OK is just gonna be able to reinforce everything, and JF isn't able to clean up that entire army. I'm at 2040 now, Plexa, so 20 seconds. So Brad OK pushing up to that third again with his new forces. He's got 4 factories with machine shops, so that's a lot of tanks he can produce. If we look at the supply, JF is at 170 and Brad OK is at 120. JF has 2 arbiters, but they don't have any energy, so they're not really efficient here. JF adding more gateways at his expansions. I think he's up to like maybe 30 even. Okay, now JF going for those left expansions. He knows they are really important. He knows he can't face that army, Terran army head on, so he's just gonna counter around along the left side, and Brad OK's army trying to catch up here. Okay, armies meeting, but JF's army is just too slow. We'll just have to run from these tanks. Meanwhile, Brad OK did some successful vulture harass at JF's third and has a tank behind the wall over there. So this is a really nice macro game here. We got the map pretty much split between the 2 players, and both just macroing from a lot of production facility.
What's your time at the moment?
I'm at 22:10.
Let me know when you get to 23:13.
Yeah, okay. So Brad OK cleaning up that small army at the left side, and JF's new main force, because he just produces so fast, he gets maxed out army so fast. His new force is moving up to Brad OK's third, but Brad OK has a nice army waiting there, and we got 24. It's almost 23 Plexa, so get ready. Brad OK moving his left army along the left side, trying to kill off some of JF's expansions here. This is a really nice game. Wow. Looks like JF is gonna try and clean up that push at the left side here, but Brad OK has a lot of tanks there. They're all a bit damaged, but they're all, but they still do a lot of damage. Jeff cleans that up, but not without losing a lot of his goons. And we're at 23:30 now, Plexa. So
Okay,
in
I'm a
5
little bit behind
seconds.
What are you at now?
23:40. 23:50. So anyways, Braddock is moving with his main army through the middle here. He's got 2 science vessels, and a lot is going to depend on if he's going to get a successful EMP off on that Arbiter, because one stasis can ruin your entire push.
I completely agree.
Braddock
I think I'm back-
positioning him.
I think I'm back here now, Rage. Hopefully. With JF going around the left there, I mean, again, it's going to force Braddock to move back. And I mean, JF's playing it really well in this max game. He's got definitely moving his army around, making sure Braddock can't get a nice solid push going, and that's pretty much what's keeping him in this game.
Yeah, indeed. And Braddock successfully managed to EMP that Arbiter before it got stasis off. And JF, well, he can't do much now. Braddock is looking really strong. He has some of his army everywhere, and he can defend every position. But the question is, can he successfully push out without being countered and losing a lot of economy here? Well, Braddock moving into the middle with a lot of vultures and 3 tanks and killing off a lot of sellouts and some High Templar. JF kind of afraid of that army, has to back off here.
Yeah, well, I mean, JF doesn't have much choice in the meta here. I wouldn't be surprised if he's going for the counter, and I think, yes, that's what he's going to do. He's going to try counter, and again, try to stop this push. I mean, he's playing very, very clever right now while he tries to get his macro back on track, seeing as Braddock's got a very, very nice economy himself. Or not, he's coming back in and he's trying to push up against this with just his Dragoons against the unsieged tanks.
Yeah, and while Braddock had a lot of tanks there, and they're almost fully upgraded, so that's one really strong force. And the problem is, JF just doesn't have enough arbiters to still doesn't have enough arbiters to face Braddock's army. They keep getting killed off, and that's why he always has to counter. But now Braddock is pushing up to his left expansions, and he has to defend them. And he has to run in into those well-positioned tanks, and it's looking really, really good for Braddock here.
Yeah, I agree there. I'm really surprised JF hasn't moved onto 2 Stargates yet. I mean, that would be really beneficial about now, if you know what I mean. I mean, he's going to be able to take the sting out of most of those vultures, but those tanks are just, you know, going to work on his expansions, which he really, really needs. And you can see JF trying to take another base right now, so I'm not liking the position of JF.
Yeah, indeed, and he just got like 12 Dragoons killed off by pure vultures. And in the meanwhile, Braddock is just killing his expansions on the left side, which are, except for his third, the only expansions he still has running. And yeah, this is looking really good for Braddock. I'm really impressed by his late game player.
I'm surprised as well. I mean, from the replays I've seen of him, he typically have the best late game macro. I mean, he's typically got quite a bit of cash in the bank, and we can see he's got that here right now with over 4,000 minerals in the bank. But JF's still fighting hair tooth and nail, trying to stay in this game. I mean, here comes Braddock here with a nice push up at 11 o'clock, and I think JF will be able to clear that out, but still, doesn't have exactly the best position. He's only got 2 mining bases against 4 from Braddock.
Yeah, indeed, and it must have been really weird for JF to get into this position. I mean, at one point he had, what, 6 or 7 mining bases, and he had around 36 gates or something, and he had arbiters. At that point, a Protoss has got to feel confident, but he just didn't have enough arbiters to break this tank heavy army, and yeah, it's kind of punished.
Yeah, he definitely needed that second gate, or second Stargate actually, much earlier than what he actually got it. Well, he doesn't even have one yet. He actually, I think he really needs the second gate to get double the stasis off, because stasis is the only thing that can really save him right now, to reduce Braddock's big unit count down to a more manageable number. Because as we can see right now, they're both at roughly even population, which is just not good for the Protoss.
Well, I kind of disagree. I think a recall is what he needs. He needs to stop those 4 factories with machine shops from just producing a lot of completely upgraded tanks, because that's what's killing him here. It's just that Braddock has the ability to just produce whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Oh, and looks like
the problem here
looks like we'll be seeing a recall here on the left side.
Yeah. The recall is long overdue as well, and we got a stasis on the ramp, and it'd be nice to see if Braddock can break that. The real problem here is that JF doesn't have the arbiters to spare to be able to both do recall and stasis, so he's got to really pick between them, and it's not a situation you want to be in as a Protoss. You want to have the luxury to be able to do both. I mean, Braddock's been able to break the stasis on the ramp, but he will lose an expansion, which I guess works in JF's favor a little bit.
Yeah, indeed. And it's really nice that he got that command center down. He really needed that. But in the meanwhile, Braddock is pushing up to JF's third, which is one of JF's only remaining mining bases here.
I like this counterattack here by Braddock. I mean, that's gonna force JF to do something to stop that, but he's coming in with a nice timing and he's gonna be able to bust that push.
Yeah, I think JF is looking strong again here. Wow.
Yeah, I'm surprised that he's being able to come back from this with only one Stargate continually pumping, and what? He's back down to 3 base again.
Yeah, Jeff is getting his economy back running, and he did quite some damage to Braddock's economy. Well, Braddock still has a lot of money, so he'll still have to do a lot more damage to get something in. And he's moving in on the left clock, 3rd base here, and storming those SCVs, and those are a lot of SCVs. Those are a lot of SCVs. That's the main part of Braddock's economy here. And wow, again JF is making a really nice comeback. This is a nice back and forth game. Wow.
Oh my god. Those were some amazing storms by JF right there. He took out a huge number of tanks.
Yeah, and he was looking really bad, but he really gets the moves out of his units. He's being really efficient with his army here, putting down nice stasis, nice recalls, nice storms, and that's what keeping him in the game actually.
Yeah, we can see the game. We can see Braddock trying to rally together a push now, and I think that's a good idea. I mean, he's really got to move out and try to take out JF's 3rd bout now, because I mean, he's only on 3 bases himself. And with tech advantage to JF, I think he really needs to take out a base now.
Yeah, well, he doesn't need to, but he's almost maxed out, and he needs to put that army to use. He needs to assemble a good position on the map before JF gets a maxed out army himself. And he's doing that right now. He has his army in the middle, and he's raping JF's forces here. JF doing some nice storms on those vultures, but Braddock just has a nice position behind those, behind that wall here with that huge amount of tanks. Even that stasis that got 3 tanks and a vulture couldn't help JF here from losing that battle.
That was a very impressive storming once again by JF, but I don't think it's going to be enough to save this game for him.
Yeah, and JF, knowing he can't face that army, it's just too big. JF is going around again and trying to damage Bradok's economy. Bradok is moving back, trying to save that command center, but the command center goes down. Yeah, JF retreating, of course, when Bradok's army is retreating. JF has to buy time till he macros up again. And if we look at JF's resources, he only has 300 minerals stashed up, and he can't get all his gates running. So it's really hard for him to cope with Bradok's constant reinforcements and bigger army at this point.
The problem is, Bradok's push just took out a whole bunch of probes at the third base of the top left expansion. So JF doesn't have the probes to maintain any kind of economy, and he's just losing out to Bradok's far superior economy and cash in the bank.
Yeah, you definitely have to give the advantage to Bradok here. And Bradok is moving through the middle along the walls here, and JF can't beat this army. This army is just too big, and he looks like he's trying to move in here, but he can't beat this down. And I wonder why he's still attacking this, because there's just too many tanks.
Bradok has way too many units. I don't see how JF can possibly win this from this position.
Yeah, indeed, he can't counter anymore. The tanks are at his base, so he can't run around the tanks anymore. And JF is just Bradok is just killing one of JF's important nexuses here.
Bradok has he's almost maxed again up against JF, who's still in the low hundreds. That's just really bad for a Terran player. Oh, the Protoss player, sorry.
Yeah, it looks like Bradok is looking to finish this game here. Moving in on bar 1, JF's only mining bases here. And JF flanking the push, but there's just too many units. His goons just melt against those 3-2 tanks here.
And I think that's going to have to be game right here. I mean, he's just lost his second to last mining base, and the base he's got there is the one remaining mining base has only got less than 1,000 minerals in total. Oh, he's got another one with a few hundred minerals there, but you can't do anything against that many tanks at this stage.
Yeah, indeed. Especially in that position, it's just pushing up the cliff. And JF has a small force at the right side, and he's gonna try and do some damage to Bradok's main, but Bradok's reinforcement force is just so huge that it could probably steamroll JF's main too.
Yeah, well, there we go. I mean, Bradok's reinforcements just destroying what JF had left, and that's the game right there.
Yeah, and JF leaves the game. Wow. This was an amazing game, really back and forth.
While it was back and forth, it went pretty much as I expected. I mean, once the Terran gets up to 4 base, you've really got to have, 5-6 bases of your own, and those 5 at the 5th and 6th base are really hard to defend on Othello, and that's why I really dislike PvT late game on Othello.
Yeah, but I wouldn't call them balanced. JF actually, I would call it a mistake. JF caught his 5th base too late, and he just got, he should have gotten a lot more arbiters.
I agree. I mean, the only problems that JF really had was that when he was at equal bases, he didn't really have the tech he needed. And then when he was at a higher base count and did get the tech, he was only one star gate. And when you're trying to attack against, a max Terran, you really want to have, as many arbiters as you can get. Because, then you've got the luxury of being able to stasis if he comes in and pushes at you and you can't do anything about it. And you've got the luxury of a recall, which is it's possibly the best time stalling thing you could ever hope for.
Yeah, indeed. The fact that JF never got the chance to get a recall on Bradok's main is just signifies how important it was to him that he should have gotten 2 Stargate Arbiters instead of 1.
Yeah, well, the good thing about that is now that Braddock's got a good chance of taking this gets to game 7 or game 6 or game 6 or 7, but because now we've got JF's pick of Troy, woohoo! And Troy is, you know, notorious for its favoritism towards Protoss. What are your takes on the map, Rage?
Well, it's almost impossible to win TVP here, and well, against normal Protoss it's even almost impossible, but JF is also really good at this map, PvT. He has a lot of experience on this map. He even beat Boxer on this map. So I kinda expect some all-inish builds from Bad OK here, probably a BBS or something like that.
That's a very real possibility, although I'll be really interested to see how he's going to play this out, because he has used rather unusual builds in the past 2 games.
Yeah, indeed. Very, very unusual.